I now call the Hampton County Council meeting to order for July 21st, 2025 at 6 o'clock p.m. I'd like to thank everyone who was with us this evening to sit in on our county council meeting. With that being said, we're on item number 2, invocation and pledge of allegiance. The invocation, I will do the invocation myself, followed by the pledge of allegiance by Councilman Thompson. So everyone, please stand if you can. Bow our heads. Most gracious Heavenly Father, we come before you to say thank you for allowing us to see a beautiful but a hot day that you have bestowed upon us. And Heavenly Father, as we go into this meeting, give us the wisdom and the fortitude to do what we feel is right for the people of Hampton County, as well as its citizens and also the people who even service the people of Hampton County. In your Son Jesus' name, amen.
Amen. Join me with the pledge, please. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
You may be seated. Our next item on the agenda is the approval of the agenda for Hampton County Council, July 21st, 2025 meeting agenda. I have one, I guess you would call it an addition, but it falls under public hearing / notice. And the public notice is the South Carolina Department of Environmental Services. So it's not a public hearing, but it is a public notice that we want to make the public aware of this notice from South Carolina Department of Environmental Services. In addition to that, item number 8, 8.1, we're going to defer policy overtime revisions for a later date. So that will be deferred. With that being said, I have no other corrections that need to be made to the agenda. So what's the pleasure of council?
Mr. Chair, I make a motion that we approve July 21st, 2025 meeting with all corrections.
Second.
A motion has been made and has been properly second. Question? All those who are in approval of the Hampton County Council July 21st, 2025 meeting agenda with the necessary corrections made, show your approval by raising your right hand. Anyone opposed? Anyone abstain? We're now on item number 4, approval of minutes. 4.1, meeting of minutes from July 7th, 2025, Hampton County Council meeting. I've had a chance to look at the minutes. Hopefully each council member had a chance to read them also. I didn't see anything that needed to be corrected. So what is the pleasure of council?
Mr. Chair, I make a motion that we approve meeting minutes to July 7th, 2025.
Check. A motion has been made, has been properly second. Call for the question. All those who are in approval of the meeting minutes for July 7th, 2025 Hampton County Council meeting, show your approval by raising your right hand. Anyone opposed? Anyone abstain? Item 4.2, meeting minutes from July 10th, 2025 Hampton County Council special meeting.
Mr. Chair, I make a motion that we approve the minutes from July 10th, 2025 Hampton County Council special meeting.
Second.
Motion has been made, has been properly second. Call for the question. All those who are in approval of the meeting minutes from July 10th, 2025 Hampton County Council special meeting, show your approval by raising your right hand. Anyone opposed? Anyone abstain? Item number 4.3, meeting minutes from July 16th, 2025 Hampton County Council special meeting.
Mr. Chairman, I move that the minutes of July 16 2025 Hampton County Special Meeting be approved.
Second.
A motion has been made, has been properly, second. Call for question. All those who are in approval of the meeting minutes from July 16, 2025 Hampton County Council Special Meeting, show your approval by raising your right hand. Anyone opposed? Anyone abstaining?
Abstain.
Okay. Councilman Jinks and Councilman Williams have abstained due to the fact that they were here at this, at the time we had these meetings. So let it be noted. We're now on item number 5, presentations. These presentations are 10 minutes. We have a presentation from Mr. Ken Jones with the Nevermark project.
Thank you. Take it I do it from here?
Yes.
My name is Ken Jones, and I work for Crescent Sound. It's a little company that I run. It's really the operations side of a private lender in Florida who made a loan to a recycle group that was operating the property for about 10 years. It turned out that it was pretty much a fraud all the way through, and eventually we were able to take control of the property back. My job, of course, is just to find highest and best use for the property. I want to thank Dr. Hollingsworth and Mayor Brown, John Fleming and his group for all kind of giving me a perspective and getting me started on the right foot. We've been at it now for about 9 months. A lot of locals have come by to, when they see activity at the property, we tried to clean it up a bit. You don't really see it from the road a whole lot. But we have made the property a little clearer, have tried to resolve some of the hurricane damage, working with the fire department and police department to make sure that they could get on the property. We've repaired some fences, spent about $150,000 to make buildings safer so they could be at least inspected. Obviously the property has a lot of pollution and asbestos. We've had some issues with the previous group's employees that obviously were not being paid. We've tried to move them out and had a couple of vandalism issues. A small fire was set a couple of weeks ago, and I certainly thank the fire department for jumping on that very quickly. So when I first came to the property, based on how I know the property had been treated and how important this property could be to the county and to the city, you know, I made a promise that I would try not to just sell it to another reseller, a recycle group that would come in at a very low price and do the same thing that this group had done to the property for, like I say, 10 years. Made that promise to Dr. Hollingsworth. I made it to the Economic Council, and have tried my best to try to find someone that would bring jobs or bring a tax base to the property, and have worked very hard to do that. We've had one group that has gone to a purchase and sale, and it fell apart at the last minute, in part because I didn't have some of the information that I really am here to request tonight. So the property does have a lot of contamination. Paramount Global is still responsible for the testing every year in the writing of a report. There's one area of the property in the southeast portion that has a terrible TCE plume. The TCE was used to clean the equipment that was used in the manufacture of micarta and other products. And it's one of those terrible forever chemicals that they are trying to get rid of. And you know, I've raised all kinds of issues as it relates to that. I think that the county should have someone look into this. I think the property has, you know, 2 issues of the groundwater contamination leaving my property and heading towards your creeks and your rivers. For years and years, the property had, and it's still owned by Paramount Global, kind of an unrestricted dump to the north, and they still own that piece of property. And of course, at the time, they were just saying that the county didn't have a landfill, and so they had used this cooling pond as kind of an unlimited dump. And based on stories that I've heard from ex-employees about how that dump was used, I also have concerns that I think that the South Carolina Department, the DHEC at that time, I think has kind of been run over by some professionals hired by Paramount Global, CBS, Viacom, whatever it was at the time, to kind of sign off on some of these things, and I think they need to be looked at again. The groundwater contamination to the north, it flows out but then eventually turns east. It's going to end up in the same place as the contamination that's on my property. We've also had an oil spill that happened just a few months before I got control of the property. Again, an ex-employee who was not being paid was just opened the valve and let the oil spill on the ground. So, you know, something that I think he was charged for a $400 fine. I think he spent a couple of nights in jail. And the lowest bid I can get to clean it up at this point is almost $200,000. So, as a lender, you really never want to chase your loan. You want to try to do what you can with your collateral to try to get your loan repaid, but you never want to have to keep feeding it in order to continue that hope that maybe you could sell it and get your money repaid. And so I'm very frustrated, but I have found two people that were interested in the property. Both of them will bring jobs. Both of them will put equipment on the property that will increase the tax base. Both of them are good companies. I enjoyed meeting the people that own the companies and run the companies. So I'd be very proud to have sold to them and fulfill my promise of bringing some jobs. But one of the things that I don't really have a good grasp on is what do I do with the construction debris that's on the ground now. Had my borrower, when he took these buildings down, and again, I believe based on employees telling me that he took them down deliberately as opposed to a hurricane knocking them down or just over time them falling down. That wood would have been worth something. The steel would have been worth something, but it's just a mess, and I don't know what to do with it. So both of these groups that are interested in the property have certain buildings that they don't want based on their business model. And so, who is going to take those buildings down? Can't take them down until you remediate the asbestos. Again, if you were to take all the buildings down, that's probably $1 million. Again, you don't have to worry about where that goes. It will have to go to a specific place that will take asbestos. But for the construction debris, and to be able to determine how I would adjust my price in order to get someone to buy and use this property to the benefit of the county, I need to know what it's going to cost me to haul that construction debris off. And I'm here as a request to get the county to cooperate with me in a waiver of some kind or a reduction in fees for a period of time, whether I take these buildings down and have that construction debris that needs to be hauled, or I sell the property and the buyer would have the same agreement that I could assign to him. So he would know over a period of time what it would cost him to clean up the property and use it as he wants to use it. So I don't know exactly who I would need to work with to determine if this is something that's feasible, something that is something that you would consider, but that's my request.
Anyone on council have any questions for Mr. Jones?
When would it be possible for us to take a look?
Anytime. Dr. Hollingworth has toured the property. Mr. Yeomans has toured the property. I'm willing to take you to the property anytime that we can do it. It is what it is. So I have no problem in showing you anything and everything that you want to know about the property that I'm aware of.
As far as the repossession of the property, the previous owners of the property has no responsibility for what's going on?
Well, I can give it back to him. Unfortunately, I wasn't able to record the deed in South Carolina and just take the property because it was done by a DocuSign that's not acceptable in South Carolina. But as part of the loan agreement, I was able to take the stock And so we were able to kick him out of the corporation, and I'm still the corporation that has owned the property for 10 years. If I can't successfully sell this property and get my loan repaid, or if working with the DES now on my oil spill, and I'm going to be required to put additional money into the site, and I'm seeing that I'm losing this opportunity to have my loan repaid in full or not, I can walk from the property by just giving the stock back to my borrower, who I know has no money and is a dishonest kind of a guy. So it ends up, what? I mean, do they clean it up themselves, put a lien on the property, make it, I mean, it leaves no one to market the property, and it will be in its condition for forever, because I have the option to walk. And I'll leave my number. I would love for you guys to come and see it. It has potential. There were several reputable groups that do data centers, and although it wouldn't bring many jobs, they would have put $1 billion worth of equipment on that property. Again, it's strategically located. It has rail. It has fiber. It just doesn't have power, and it'll be a number of years before there would be enough power to run a data center. There's water, which may help in certain circumstances. There's a water extraction permit that the property has. It has 3 wells, but 2 are too close to the plume to, I think, renew that license. But you're still talking about 100 million gallons of water that could be extracted and cool a data center. But again, they just can't wait. There's only so many data centers that can be built, and I think they all move to look for other locations.
Any more questions for Mr. Jones? I do want to say that Mr. Jones has reached out not only to the county, but as he has stated earlier, he has reached out to Mayor Brown with the county of Hampton, as well as with Southern Carolina Alliance.
Yes.
And so he has been trying to do his due diligence and trying to get this particular issue in some manner resolved. So I felt that at this time, since he had been working so diligently, I would say nine months plus, that that council needed to be brought to their attention the issue that is still happening with it, and also with the construction. And I guess, Mr. Humans, I know that we have had some small conversation, I say small conversation on this. We have not come to a conclusion yet as to what we can and cannot put out there at the landfill, because we have to follow DHEC regulations, and we will make sure that there's nothing that is hazardous, that comes from the level mark that's put out there, even at the landfill, that will cause health issues with the people of Hampton County. So,
Mr. Chair,
yes.
have you located the nearest hazmat disposal site?
It's a sore subject with me at this point. They could not tell me where to take it. They are requiring my professional environmental consultant to find out where it goes. They literally don't have someone in their department who can tell me where to take my oil spill.
So they did not direct you to Georgetown.
They haven't directed me anywhere. And I've got a consultant now that's trying to find a place to take it.
What's the estimated tonnage that you, need to have removed, and who monitors to make sure that what you take out is legal?
Well, are we talking oil spill here or just
I'm
construction?
talking about oil spill as well as.
The oil spill itself is difficult. The oil spill valve was open and was able to be cut off, so it was more sludge than anything else. The property's been closed for 10 years. They were self-powered for years, but you know, that they went to outside services and gas and electric years ago. So these tanks have been sitting there for a long time, and it really was just sludge. So it didn't really absorb into the groundwater there. The problem is that was a transfer site for filling these tanks up for 40 years. A rail car would come on the site, tank car, and they would pump the oil out of the tank car into these tanks, then they would use the fuel oil to do the boilers and the generator, self-powered. So there have been spills in this particular area for years. There is an environmental study done in 2002 that mentions that there was a spill when International Paper owned the property that was never reported. So again, you know, you've got an environmental guy that comes on the property to do his report. He then, you know, talks to all the employees that deal with the various chemicals used, and so it's in a report that, you know, someone else is responsible. So I don't know how far you've got to dig to. And another problem is that the pit itself, although constructed specifically to contain an oil spill if it happened, also was where the railroad spur came onto the property for the transfer of oil. And so where the spill happened, you've got railroad ties and rock. It's not, you know, you think of an oil spill and it spills out on the ground, all you've got is contaminated soil. You kind of know how much that weight is going to be just by weighing a bucket of sand or dirt. In this particular case, that's not what's there. So suddenly the tonnage goes up substantially. And so, you know, again, why would I want to spend $200,000 cleaning up an oil spill that I'm not responsible for, except that I can control the property at this point, when it's just going to add to a loan that I'm never going to get repaid. So, I mean, clearly my board is just considering walking, and I don't want that to happen. I want to see this property do something for this community. The groundwater contamination is an issue that is underground, and although those chemicals are awful, there have been some studies done that this property can be used if you just don't eat the dirt, grow crops, live on it. And although I'm skeptical of some of those findings, most of the people that I've talked to that are interested in the property or would use the property have no intention of taking these slabs out and doing construction and building some new structure. I mean, even the data center people wanted the slabs and they would just build on top of them. So the idea that there wouldn't be any disturbance of the soil, it's almost like asbestos. There's nothing wrong with asbestos unless you mess with it. The soil is the same thing. Over time, it's not going to be an issue because this contamination is going to leave my site, and then you guys are going to have to deal with it.
Mr. Jones, if you don't mind me asking, what was your intent when you purchased the property? What was your plan?
We loaned against, I mean, the borrower bought the property in 2015. He was a recycle guy. He came in and took all the prize pieces, all the stainless steel, all the brass, and then he ran out of money. Then he turned a group of criminals that were his employees loose, and for, I don't know, 7 or 8 years, they, you know, caused all kinds of issues here in your town, in your county. They caused the police to have to respond often. They lived on the property where there was no utilities, and they just stripped copper so that they could get their next fix. And that was the story that I heard from, I kind of knew that already, but it certainly was confirmed by people who had dealt with. So not only did I have to deal with that issue, he left an awful lot of bills unpaid and an awful lot of the reputation for the entity in shambles. So, I mean, again, one of the reasons for thanking these guys who educated me when I first got here was I was able to mend some of those relationships because those were vendors that I needed and have used and I'm very happy with. But it wasn't my intent to do anything here. I just want to get my loan repaid.
Any more questions? None? Mr. Jones, thank you.
Thank you
Thank you
very
very much. We'll take time out of the schedule, bring that to us. We're now on item number 6, public hearing, backslash, notice, South Carolina Department of Environmental Services. Administrator Dumas, can you share what this notice is about, so give us a summation of it? Because I know it's been posted.
Yes, sir. This was actually in my box. I was in travel last week, so this was in my box and open the mail today. But there is a meeting scheduled for tomorrow, July 26th at Lake Warren in reference to the South Carolina Department of Environmental Services. It's a public meeting regarding the Lower Savannah Salkehatchie River Basin Plan. So an educational session for the public to come out and understand key components regarding that conversation.
Thank you very much, Mr. Nunes. We're now on item number 7, public comments. These are 5-minute comments. Who do we have on our list?
Patricia Moore, is the process of transferring deeds resulting from delinquent taxes.
How you doing, Mrs. Moore?
Good evening,
Good evening.
council, and to other members of the audience. Thank you for allowing me this time. I'm asking to be placed back on your agenda when the next meeting so that I can give you a full detail of what has happened. But I have 3 questions that I want to leave with you for the sake of time to ask you to be contemplating and thinking about without going into detail as I come back before you. My first question is I would like to have explained to me the process and protocols for transferring deeds to new owners after the delinquent tax sale redemption period has elapsed. In that, I want included a time frame as well as how it's done through the office. The second question is what steps do we take when the process is not followed? The third question is how much time should elapse before county personnel respond to emails by either an acknowledgement letting you know that they received it but they're not able to answer at this time and give you a definitive time frame in which they will give you a definite answer to the issue or concern that is being presented to them. So at the next meeting when I present the full disclosure of the situation that I'm discussing, I would like to have you thinking about those questions and be prepared to give me some kind of an answer for those 2 questions.
And it's my understanding, Mrs. Moore, that you want to do this as a presentation instead of as a public comment the next time that you do come.
Yes, sir.
And I think our next meeting will be August
The 11th.
the 11th, right? It'll be August the 11th, which is actually the second Monday in August, which we normally have on the first Monday,
Right.
but we'll be at a conference, so we'll plan on still have 2 council meetings, and one will be on the 11th, and then one will be on the 3rd Monday. So we'll make sure that we
On
have
the
have it
11th, I
down
would like to.
on the
Ms. Orr, if
Second.
there's anything else other than the items I've already sent you, if you'll just
I
let me know.
forwarded, I actually sent it to them. Is that all you need in your presentation?
Well, that's
Or
what
what
I'm
you
going
sent
to
me, that
present to
is,
them. Yes,
okay,
ma'am.
okay, so I have it. You're good.
Okay.
Thank you,
Thank you.
Go ahead. Councilman
How
Thompson.
long have you been involved with this process of trying to get this cleared up?
Well, actually, it was December 4th of 2023, and so now we're 576 days from the date that it was purchased. And, you know, I was told that they had 365 days and 1 day, a year and 1 day, so 366 days. So now we're already 210 days beyond the 366 days, in this process. And, you know, as I said, I'll give you the details later, but it has been certainly, not a good process.
Sure. Mr.
Ms. Clerk, you got a question?
I have,
You have a question? Before.
I can.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Moore. Thank you very much.
That's it.
Item number 8 has been deferred to a later date. We're now on item number 9, items for discussion. 9.1, commuter parking lot and food truck court. By the way, good evening, Mr. Iglesias. Good evening.
Good evening, Council. Good evening, Mr. Chair. Thank you. Thank you. There we go. Good evening, Council. Christopher Iglesias, Deputy County Administrator. I'm excited to present to you an item for discussion that's been an ongoing conversation with staff. And there's two things for discussion, but they kind of overlap a little bit. So the first one has 3 components to it. It's a commuter parking lot, a food truck court, and future fire station. There's a memo in your packet that gives you sort of what the vision is and sort of the phasing of the project. Council desires moving forward, but this was inspired by a presentation at a planning conference that I attended last year, and the topic of discussion was economic development at commuter stops, and it was focused on the urban context. So I approached the presenter afterwards and said, how can we apply the same concept of, you know, sparking economic development in commuter spaces in the urban environment in a rural environment? And so that led to thinking about, you know, where can we put a commuter lot where people can meet and gather? And because part of this presentation was wherever the people are meeting and gathering, economic development spawns from that, right? And so that led to some thinking and some conversations to this idea that's being presented tonight. And this is something that isn't very expensive, it's not complicated, doesn't have a lot of layers to it, but it's something that is fairly simple and then reachable. It's something mostly we can do in-house, and it's within our reach to do this. It will provide public service to citizens. It will serve several items as in the memo states, and so again, it's got 3 components. One is introducing and putting some signage that the county is planning to and intends to build a new fire station at this location. That's been identified in the emergency management plan, that location, the corner of Bob Gifford and Embassy Highway, is appropriate for the site of a future fire station. And that's important that information is relayed to investors when they come here. They want to know, you know, when we're building a fire station and where it's going to be, and it's going to service the industrial parks and any other areas. This is just over 5 miles, I think, from the Embassy Fire Station, and there's nothing there, so this will help improve our SO ratings. Yes, sir. And so we know that, staff has known that for a long time. It appears in the emergency management plans that this is the site for the future. And it'd be great to announce that and have it in some signage out there on the property, so it's front of mind, so it comes up when we're talking about budget and financing and capital projects of the future, that's on everybody's mind. And so this was a mock-up sign that that Frampton Construction has offered to donate to have mocked up. They already had their designer do this, and they will pay for the sign to be produced, and we'll put it out there where they have a sign out there now. We'll replace that sign with this announcement of the future Hampton County. So that's one component of this project. So this is the area that I've been talking about. So Lake Crusade, the existing Lake Crusade is here. The county owns this parcel here, as well as this parcel here. And we're talking about this corner, about a 1 acre portion of that. And so that's a little better defined here. This little X marks the spot would be where the signage would go. And then this would be, you know, around, and you'll see another image of the parking lot. This is what John Fleming was kind enough from SBA to mock this up. But this is traveling east and this is west. And so you would pull into Bob Gifford. We would align the driveway across the street from the existing driveway for Lake Crusade. You'd pull in, there'd be a gravel parking lot where people can meet, commuters could meet there. They could travel from there, you know, to Hardyville to go shopping, or to Beaufort for an event or whatnot, but they have a place to meet that's convenient. And then
What would be the capacity of that parking lot?
yes, so 1 acre, that's a good question. I mean, I would be taking a wild guess until we lay it out.
Sure.
But 45, 50. And then, so that's the second component is this commuter parking lot, which would be a gathering place for people to meet, safe place to park and get together. And then the third component is the food truck component. And so this is just some examples in Hanningham where they took a blank lot like this and now they're selling spaces for food trucks to be there. And we know our industrial the tenants in the parks have, you know, there's existing businesses there with several hundred employees, and there's no real good food options for them. So this will give them an option, but it'll also support our local entrepreneurs with food trucks. And that's one of our EDC goals, was to, you know, do some things to help support our local businesses.
I have a question.
Yes, sir.
Being that this is on our industrial park, and I guess I'm addressing this to you, Mr. Fleming, do Southern Carolina Lions, they are considering anything on their industrial park like this that you know of?
On this piece of property within this park was identified actually before I came to work for Southern Carolina Fire Station.
Right, exactly, right.
We've always identified that as a future fire station.
Yeah.
I have a question.
It's not big enough, I guess, for the question is, it's not really big enough for an industrial use around that corner.
Right, Go ahead, Councilman James.
You mentioned supporting our local entrepreneurs. This park is only going to be available to our local food truck entrepreneurs, or is it open to?
I don't know what we have to define local probably to know.
I understand.
But,
I mean, if we have a resident from Charleston that sees, is it going to benefit them?
maybe I should say small businesses instead of local businesses. I mean, we're open to, you know, I think we're open to, obviously we want to support our local businesses, but they may not, if we're going to rotate different trucks in there, we may not have enough to get some variety and have some different things in there for the people who are supporting and patronizing it. But we could come to council with some policy about who gets to rent it. You know, that would be later on down the road. But
It would be a concern of mine, because they could be overwhelmed with outsiders, and then we get calls, why can't we get in the park?
and you will decide the policy on who gets to rent it. So if you want it strictly local, you will have an opportunity in the future to
Well, you know, with
tell us what that policy will be.
with now that the agricultural technology campus, you know, I know it's a sure thing now. I can see this thing probably will be bigger than that. Eventually, you know, I guess what I'm saying here, what we're planning right now, we're planning for a small thing. I'm looking for, what, 1,500 people that have to eat?
It
For lunchtime?
absolutely has the potential to evolve
Yeah,
into
yeah.
multiple trucks
Yeah,
every
so-
day of the week. And, yeah.
I would hope that in the design, that it had, definitely have room for expansion. Definitely, you know, for room for expansion, because I believe that once you put it there, probably with what we currently have, will probably be overwhelming then. And what's to come.
Don't bring me that problem. That's a problem
Yeah.
I would love for us to have,
Yeah.
right?
Being that we do have the land to accommodate it, you know.
Yes, sir.
So, like,
And the thought is there's plenty of land for the fire station itself, but that this would be, it could stay long-term, or, you know, depending on the final design of the fire station, it may somehow be incorporated, the parking area might somehow be incorporated into
Right.
it, but
And
it
even-
has potential for
right.
long-term.
And even the parking area, we're talking about people communicating, you know, commuting to Hampton to work at the campus, you know, and, you know, because we already know that we cannot accommodate those number of people once it gets up and running down the road. And so, even the parking lot, it will probably be too small for what we're talking about happening for. But again, it's a good thing. It's a good problem.
It's a good problem. And this is something we can do now that's within our reach,
Yeah.
that's affordable, that we can mostly do in-house. And we can play with it. It could evolve. I think I put in there, you know, stages, phases 5 through 7. You know, we could trick it out real nice and, you know, do all kinds of things, have covered parking areas with, you know, battery chargers for electrical vehicles. We can have covered areas for seating. Probably would start with just a simple picnic table, but that could evolve into a whole covered seating area that could be like a pavilion. So all kinds of possibilities for the future, but start with something that's affordable, that's achievable, that sparks some economic development, and then watch it evolve and watch it grow into whatever you want it to.
And hopefully we can get some traffic off of 95 as well. Those travelers could start by
Too
fixing
far.
the signage.
Probably too far.
Huh?
Probably stretch. It's 5 miles off of 95.
That conversation came up at ADC, and the thought was, how cool would it be to have one of those DOT signs that says food court 5 miles off? People would be intrigued by a food court, by a food truck court, and it would spark their interest, and they might be willing to take the drive.
I used to drive 38 miles for Chinese chicken wings on Sunday, so yeah.
So we didn't want to burden the general fund because it's kind of evolved towards the end of budget season. So this was the idea to try and come up with some revenue outside of budget. We've got a beautiful, I think it's about 60, we own, actually you'll see this in the next presentation, is about Tiger Street. So this is Tiger Street, and we actually own, the county owns about 66 acres, 67 acres in there. So I think it's 4 parcels altogether. But the thought would be, this is some valuable timber. This is older and age. It can get maximum dollar for, as opposed to the site itself, which has young timber that's not we won't get anything for clearing an acre. But
Question on that. Once the timber has been harvested, are we going to regenerate any of those sites?
the memo says absolutely replant it, and it's and I mean, I don't have an official quote, but the unofficial quotes that I got gives a premium value to the timber that's there, and the cost of replanting is nominal. I mean, we still fetch a good number. So one of my pet peeves is seeing those Armageddon-looking lots that don't get replanted and just sit with the debris. So it's absolutely my intention that be part of this. And actually, when we talk about the Tiger Street development, I'll talk a little bit more about this area being a perpetual conservation area strictly for timbering and for trail use and things like that.
Yeah, because you could, find selected areas around the property to have a tree farm.
Yes, sir.
And that's very lucrative,
Yes, sir.
if done right, if done properly.
Yes, sir. But this is a way we could fund the commuter parking lot and, getting the gravel fill, getting it laid out, sort of getting it to that initial phase. And it may, we may have enough cash left over for, the picnic tables and the seating area and to do some other improvements. Kind of incrementally approaching the project to, do what we can do now with an eye towards the future for growth. And I could go right into the Tiger Street because again, there's a little overlap with this. So again, this was, they're fetching, I think, $750 a month for what they're advertising for the food truck spot at this particular one. I'm not suggesting we'll get that off the bat, but just to say this is a trend, it's an area